Greetings, family. Peace, love, and positive thinking. This is Guru, and thank you for joining my channel. Today's vlog is about the bombing that happened this past weekend in Manhattan, where 29 people were injured. Allegedly by this bomber by the name of Ahmad Khan Rahami, who is from Pakistan and 28 years old and male. But let's get to the story. So just before 8 in the morning on Monday, cell phones chimed in unison across New York City. It wasn't the sound of text messages. It was a dissonant siren repeated 6 times, accompanied by a short note. Wanted. Ahmad Khan Rahami, 28-year-old male. See media for pic. Call 911 if seen. New Yorkers have received emergency alerts before in extreme weather. Like Jonas earlier this year, the jarring tones have instructed people to move indoors and stay there. Amber alerts, which use the same system, occasionally ask people to look out for abducted children in the area. But the city never has sent an alert like this, typically used only to keep people safe. The Monday alert asked New Yorkers to join the police search for a wanted man. The emergency alert read, Wanted, Ahmad Khan Rahami, 28 years old, male. See media for pic. Call 911 if seen. And of course, people tweeted about the emergency alerts. And so Hayes Brown, at Hayes Brown, tweets, well, that's a new emergency alert experience. So family, I just wanted to expose something about this. This technology process that the emergency management services used, and whether or not that it was successful in the apprehension of this suspect, it needs to be brought to light, the limitations and some of the benefits of this program that I wanted to share with you. So instead of reading the rest of this article and going through some of the details as to some of the pitfalls with the system and whatnot, I'm just going to get to some of the juicier parts that I felt were important to share with you. And then if you feel the need, you can go and research this yourself. But I believe that we're going to see more of these type of alerts, especially those of us who have cell phones. Now, the downfall to this is those who are without cell phones, you will be left in the dark as to what's going on in the event of a national emergency or whatnot. Okay? So how did the push get sent so quickly? Quote, we try to limit the approval process, unquote, said Nancy Silvestri, the agency spokesperson. Quote, we are empowered to make the decision locally. That allows timely notifications to go out without being bogged down in red tape, she said. Rahami was arrested in New Jersey after a shootout with police later Monday morning. It's still unclear how police tracked him down. The Monday alert was the second notification that had to do with the weekend's bomb scare. When an explosion resounded in Manhattan's Chelsea neighborhood on Saturday, New York City officials sent an alert only to cell phone users around the neighborhood, warning them to stay away from windows. That alert was similar to an emergency warning sent after the Boston Marathon bombing in 2013, which instructed people near the blast to shelter in place. The Boston alert did not, however, identify a suspect. So, as we can see, there needs to be some protocol set in place as far as how our nation responds to emergencies. That's a fact, because like this article is saying, the Boston alert did not identify a suspect. So, you know, there's those. I know there's fine lines dealing with this, and I'm going to go through that in a minute in this article. But I think some of the pitfalls that they've learned from this, they need to correct it, and correct it fast, and stop dragging their feet. So officials are able to target cell phones in a specific area because of how the technology works. Once a local agency submits a wireless emergency alert, an a specific area, it's passed along to wireless carriers, which then send the messages to their customers from cell towers in the target zone. Most providers distribute the messages on a channel that's separate from the usual way cell phones receive voice, SMS, and other data from cell phone towers in order to be able to deliver alerts even when voice and text channels are congested. New York City's Office of Emergency Management was the very first alert originator to adopt the system when it was first introduced in 2012. Bravo for them. 4 years later, the technology has some of the same limitations. Now, see, that's a problem, and that's where you see where people are dragging their feet. Because here you have a method, a process here that can help people, and as times are getting worse, and we're seeing more and more chaos and disasters and destructions and just things going wrong in our world, we need to perfect some of these pitfalls here. We need to perfect them. And so if people are paying attention, you need to put the pressure in people's ears to get it right. But anyways, I digress. Let's get back to this. It says, I'm going to start this part back over because I think it's worth repeating. New York City's Office of Emergency Management was the very first alert originator to adopt the system when it was first introduced in 2012. 4 years later, the technology has some of the same limitations. It only allows messages to include 90 characters, less than a tweet's worth. You know this. And it doesn't support attachments like photos. That's why this morning's alert had to point people to the media for the suspect's photo. Messages can't include tappable URLs or phone numbers. You see what I'm saying? You guys have a process here where you could perfect this. Could you imagine if you had the suspect's photo on that alert, and that possibly the person or persons could get apprehended a lot faster? And so here 4 years later, you're still dragging your feet, and you guys haven't perfected this system. That's shameful. But I digress. Last year, the Federal Communications Commission tried to overhaul the alert system, but wireless carriers rebelled. You hear that? It was the wireless carriers who rebelled. Motherboard reported last month. The Commission's recommendations included extending alert lengths, which is smart, enabling web links, which is smart, and improving their crude geo-targeting technology. Nice. The changes haven't yet been adopted. Boo. Because of the length limitations, Monday's alert contained very little information about the suspect New York NYPD was looking for. You see what I'm saying? It's because of the limitations. People who went searching online for more about Rahami would have found a photo and the description police shared with the media. A 5'6", 200-pound male with brown hair, brown eyes, and brown facial hair. Some criticized the city's decision to push the alert to the entire city. As someone tweeted, NK Jemison, and I apologize if I said your name wrong, tweets, I didn't sign up for the New York City emergency alert system to be woken up by, quote, join our paranoia about vaguely brown men, unquote. Very well said. That's very well said. And I want to repeat that. I didn't sign up for the New York City emergency alert system to be woken up by, quote, join our paranoia about vaguely brown men, unquote. Very well stated. And in another tweet, NK Jamison writes, and this is dangerous. I know maybe 4 or 5 guys of different ethnicities who look like Ahmad Khan Rahami. I hope they'll be okay. Well, your prayers are answered because they did apprehend the suspect. But yes, I can understand your concern because there are 4 or 5, maybe more different ethnicities who look like that, have that description, that vague description. That vague description of a 5'6", 200-pound male with brown hair, brown eyes, and brown facial hair. They could have at least said he's of Middle Eastern descent, or his skin tone is olive tone, or whatever, however you describe almost white tone skin. You guys could have given more descriptions so that people would have more to go on. Publicly identifying a suspect at large can be risky. In Boston, a twisted string of events led news organizations to wrongly identify 22-year-old Sunil Tripathi as the marathon bomber. And after 5 police officers were killed in Dallas earlier this year, the Dallas Police Department tweeted a photo of a man with a gun slung over his shoulder with the caption, "Please help us find him." That man, Mark Hughes, was not involved in the violence and was complying with open carry laws. His attorney said he received thousands of death threats after the tweet. That's very reckless, and I do recall that. I remember that. I remember that, brother, and he should be suing them big time. But when I asked the Office of Emergency Management whether the lack of information could put some New Yorkers in danger of being profiled and harmed, the spokesperson said the city had decided that the importance of disseminating the information outweighed the limitations of the alert. A spokesperson for the police department wasn't immediately available to comment. Yet, and I'll repeat, but I didn't sign up for the New York City emergency alert system to be woken up by, quote, "join our paranoia about vaguely brown men," unquote. I didn't sign up to be woken up by, quote, "join our paranoia about vaguely brown men," unquote. So the spokesperson said the city had decided that the importance of disseminating the information outweighed the limitations of the alert. Yeah. So you're going to put out an alert that could target various men of different ethnicities, men and women, as a matter of fact, because it could be a woman at some point in time, but you're going to throw out something that's going to jeopardize a whole lot of other people because you guys can't get it together. I think this is a really good process you guys have come up with, this emergency alert system, especially for people who have cell phones. I just think it would have really been useful to have this alert with a picture of this suspect right below the message. A really short message and then a picture right below. Maybe a picture of the person, a picture of the car if it happens to be an Amber Alert, but something of that nature. You guys need to perfect this. You have the opportunity. It's been 4 years since it's been introduced and you guys still haven't gotten it together. It's pretty shameful. Could you imagine if you guys didn't catch that suspect when you did? Could you imagine? All because of a flawed system that you guys could have fixed 4 years ago? Okay. Family, I hope you like, share, and subscribe. If this video wasn't for you, I understand. This is just something that I caught regarding this whole suspect that did this bombing. I didn't really follow it much. I heard about it. I saw that 29 people were injured. There were no deaths that I'm aware of. They did catch the suspect, so they're gonna pretty much kind of skim over this pretty much and then let it go. They're gonna be back to the black attack real shortly after this. They're gonna be back on black attack. So But I did want to share this with you guys, and in hopes that you guys can see that yes, they are working on different ways of how they communicate. And so yeah, if you're on that other end of the stick and you're doing something wrong, believe me, you just may end up on an emergency alert. So with that said, family, I hope you like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. This is Guru. Peace, love, and positive thinking. I'm out.